Need to check, right, to return the index of the day. What we can do, we say we're going to create a loop. Initialize index I equal to 0, right, while I less than, refer to the array this dot day dot length. It's going to keep iterating and increment to the next one, which we start to if, right, this dot day at the index I happen to be equals to the day that the user or passing in one parameter right there, this day. If it's equals, then it's just going to return. We can actually return I that we found right away too at that point. There's no longer do the rest of the code. It's just exit, right? What happens if it's not equals then? That's going to increment until it's found and will return, which is fine by itself. But what happens if the user happen to enter something that's not in the list? Then this is going to return the last index, which is 7, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So when it gets to 6, it's still less than the length. It's still compare. It's increment I++, which is 7. So technically, when it gets to 7, we already know that it's invalid from the user, right? Otherwise, when it's found, it's going to return either between 0 to 6. So with that 7, with code 7, we know if it's 7, returns here, right? So before we do anything here, we have to check first. We can't just set it right away because it could be 7. If it's 7, then we're going to be in trouble. It's going to return index outbound because there's no 7 right there. So we're going to say, I'm going to declare int. We can do int, right? I pretty much just get the index, right? So I will say if I pretty much between 0 and 6, right? If I greater than equal to 0 and I less than 7, then we have the good index here, right? Then we can set I to the index. That's one way. Or pretty much if you look at this code, it's going to be return 0 to 7. Then we can do if I not equal to 7. Then we can pretty much just do this. Else, that means there's an error. If there's an error, then from the user, then we're not going to set the index. Or we're going to make it as a default if we want, right? Else, right? If you want to tell the user there's a problem, you can take care of it at this point. So it's just all about how would you handle the errors here. If you want to handle the errors, then I can technically, this is private, right? And just add another attribute, right? Say boolean. There's an error, right? I can just say error to true equals to true. And default, we can just set it to false. Alright, so now we are able to get the index. Right, with the constructor like there. Now, after we can get the index, we have to modify get day. Get day pretty much just day and this dot index. Then you get the right day back. Set day is pretty much the same logic here that we need to do, right? Like the constructor, make sure that we get a right index to it, right? Right, so get an index of the day, and then if it's between that we set, otherwise there's an error. Now, before we look at next day, we gonna look at toString. It should just do this dot day and return the this dot index, right? Which is day dot this dot index, right? So what we're gonna do, we're going to do the next day. Next day should be very simple, just like get day, right? +1. Now, but there's a problem when they happen to be at the last index. Right, so if it's Sunday index is going to be 6, +1 is going to be 7, right? So it's supposed to return, there's no 7 right there. We should make it reset back to Monday, which is 0. So that means we're going to do return, right? Return day with this dot index. Alright, and this index actually, we said next day is going to be +1, right? This whole thing +1. But when we get to 7, we want to mod with 7. Then remainder is going to be 0 back, right? Then we get the right day back. Okay, so that's how we do it next day. So let's test this a little bit first. So we said we print today, right? Drivers, same thing, we don't have to worry about that, right? It works, right? So current day is Wednesday. Now I'm going to see next day then. Okay, so it works. Thursday. Now let's test with the one that we may wonder if today is Sunday, right? So cool. So it works. Next day is Monday. So that's how we implement next day. How about previous day? So it should be the same principle like next day, right? Previous day, normally your index is going to be -1, right? Now we can do something like that, right? Return and do -1. But if it's happened to be Monday index is 0 -1, at that point it's going to give you -1. Alright, so let's think Monday is 0. Previous day is supposed to return Sunday, which we want 6, right? This one is going to give you -1. It will never give you 6. So this is going to be a problem, this logic, right? If it's 6, previous day, 6 -1 is 5, then that's fine. It still works, right? So how are we going to handle with negative then? So let's look at the logic for this then. For previous day, we know that this dot index, the index is going to be where it's 6 is return 5. We don't really need this, right? Where it's 5 is returns 4, but where it's 0, that means we want to get the index, right? Like in I equals to, we gotta use if else to help, right? This dot, we have to see what's the current index. If the current index equals to 0, that means it is the Monday. Then we should return last index, right? Last index pretty much just the length, right? Minus 1. Not this dot index, this dot day, the array, right? That has a length, which is 6, right? Returns back. Else, it should return the one that we have. This dot index minus 1, right? Before. And then we can return the I, right? So that's how we do previous day. So let's test then. I'm going to set this to the one that Sunday, that's fine, to test that scenario first. So previous day should be Saturday, which is correct, right? Now what happened if we set this to Monday? Next day, Tuesday, and so it works, right? So that's for previous day. Now, last but not least, the hardest one that we need to do is calculate day based on the parameter that the user said how many 10 more days from today or 10 previous days from today, right? Int, right? In the parameter is number of days, something like that. So it's going to return. I'm going to do the same. We need to calculate the index to return. Right. So if it's one more day from today, that's fine, right? Because plus 1. And mod 7 should support that, right? Right. So like if I have 7 more days from today, like if today is Monday, 7 more days is going to be 7 plus 1, right? 8 mod 7, so returns index 1, which is Tuesday, right? Because 7 more days from Monday should be Tuesday, right? Because 6 more days from Monday is Monday, right? We don't count the day that we starting, right? So that means this logic is fine for when it is positive, right? This is for the positive. When it's like days is happen to be greater than equal to 0, right? But what happens if the day is less than 0? So for the positive, right? If the days greater than equal to 0, we can use this. But for the negative, we have to use the previous day formula else, right?